Hello, welcome. My name is Eva. I'm your host for today if you're new to us. And in this training, I want to keep it super, super short and concise. And I want to go over the difference between one-to-one, one-to-many. What do you do for pricing, length, structure, what actually creates success in your program so that you can create a program that you really believe in that is going to make a difference for your clients. And, when you believe in something, you're able to sell it. So my lighting is terrible. I apologize, guys, but today I'm actually going to share my screen. I'm going to go over with you through a few things. So you might want to grab a pen and paper because we're going to be taking some notes. And by the end of your session, I want you to be clear on the go-to-market strategy in the program that you are launching next, or the program that you're relaunching. So let me see if this works, and feel free to put comments in the chat. Let me know what you're joining from, and let me know if you can, let's see if you can hopefully see my screen. All right, entire screen. All right, hopefully everybody can see. Let me know if you can. So today we're talking about scalable signature program, which can be, by the way, one-to-one or one-to-many. So I'm going to walk you through some great options and some not so great options. All right. So some good options for your programs. Number one is beta program. Right? Like that's for people who are just launching, who are just starting their business, who need to get some practice, whether it's getting some pro bono clients or a lower price program that really allows you to practice and get experience is always a good idea. The biggest mistakes that people make is they put so much pressure on launching with a super high ticket program before get an experience, right? So this is really for folks who are just, getting their certifications and they're just starting to work with people. That's a good option, right? Not beyond that, obviously. Another great option for those who are just starting out is the 6 to 12 month high ticket one-to-one program. That's quite frankly where I started, right? I don't do any one-to-one coaching anymore, but it was very powerful. I was doing 6-month program. I was charging $11.64 a month for that, right? It was not super high priced, but it was very popular. It was really easy to teach, and it was a really, really great way for me to practice coaching, get some results for my clients. And then from there, I moved into a group program and a hybrid program. So what is a group program and what is a hybrid program, right? Hybrid program combines the one-to-one and a group element. We're going to talk about in a minute about what that looks like. However, group programs typically just have the group program element. They have some group coaching, they have some group instructions, maybe some group trainings. The hybrid programs bring in, some touches one-to-one with a coach or with their team, right? Be it through one-to-one sessions once a month or twice a month, or check-ins over voice text or whatever you have, or, some small group office hours. That's kind of, somewhere in between, right? So that sort of thing. And, I will spend more time talking about this because I absolutely believe in the hybrid programs. I've been teaching those, and I really, really, really love how that brings together everything that those clients need, right? There's also high ticket VIP days. That's something that I used to do very successfully, and I would enroll people into our group program or before into our individual program out of the VIP days. It's very easy to do, and it's a really, really good idea for people who are just starting out, right? You can do a full VIP day with a lunch break, or you can just do a 3-hour VIP day. You just kind of have to design it based on what really works for your clients. And always, always, always have an ascension strategy, right? Once people graduate their program, what's next? And obviously, you're not going to have that at the beginning, right? But you're going to incorporate that in once people start getting about midway through your signature program. You've got to start thinking about what's next for them, okay? So I have some things on the right side here that say stay away from. I'll tell you why. So stay away from memberships, video-only course, packages, and subscriptions. All right. So those are, the memberships and the video only courses. There's many reasons for that. One of them being, number one, you cannot charge a lot for those. So you're obviously, the cost per lead and cost per conversion, and the amount of effort it takes you to bring people into these things is going to just not be worth your time. Okay. I have launched these, I have done these, and it's a lot of effort to create. And especially with the state of paid advertising right now, where the cost per conversion and cost per leads are through the roof, right? The things that used to work in the past just don't work anymore. So it's extremely, extremely difficult to enroll people through an automated funnel into a course or into a membership. Like what I think when I say course and memberships, like you get access to something and you're kind of consuming it at your own pace, and there's no, a live person element or group element or one-to-one element, right? The other reason is that it kind of lacks the integrity, to tell you the truth, because a lot of people in these things are really just, not getting the results, to tell you the truth, right? Like I see a lot of examples of people who buy a course and then they forgot to, they forgot all about it. And then they're like, okay, well, I have this access, so I'll get to this later, right? So they just delay and there's never any results. Or, I have made this mistake before, enrolling into these courses, and the content was really good, actually. I was building a lot of things, it was business building courses for, how to create, funnels for this and that. And the content seemed really good. So I was putting a lot of effort into implementing it. However, it just wasn't converting, and I had no idea why. Right? And if somebody took a look at it, they would see an immediate problem with positioning, and they would see an immediate problem that I just could not see with a copy or with a strategy or with my pricing or whatever. But when there was no such, there was nobody, helping me with this. Jay and I literally spent, months and months trying to test this on, running against the wall. It's like, what are we doing wrong? Why is this not working? What is it about this that is not converting, right? So, that's one example, but I think I'm seeing it's that when I just actually, 2 weeks ago enrolled into a 12-month membership where there's, just you get access to something, and I was like, okay, it was one of those things. There's not super high ticket. It was like $9.97. And I'm already seeing this like logged in once in the past 2 weeks, and the excitement immediately wore off. And, it was some spiritual coaching, and it brings together some elements and breath work and this and that. I'm like, okay, well, cool. That's going to be great. It's all the things that I want to do. But, the truth of the matter is that I used one of the recordings, and I clicked on one. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to do it later. Right. And when that's happening, you're selling something. Yeah. You're making a little bit of money. Yeah. But are you really delivering transformation? Right. And what I want for you guys to do is actually deliver transformation, actually be getting results to your clients. Packages is another thing that a lot of people do when they have clients buy like 4 to 6 session packages. And for some coaches, this actually works really well, when they have clients like sign up for like a very, very long-term package, right? I'm talking about the 4 to 6 session packages where it's like you have to have a re-enrollment conversation. And there's always this thinking like from the side of the client, do I want to continue? Do I not? And there's all this like, there's basically a lack of commitment, and there's no structure, and there's no milestones to achieve. It's just too short to get anywhere with this. So that kind of gives you a sense of like, some great options and some stay away from options. All right. So I do want to have a conversation with you, because I know from experience, most of you really, really, really want to create transformation. You're not just in it for the money. And yeah, when you want to make a lot of money in the process, but what's more important to you is actually delivering the transformation, shifting the consciousness of the planet, having your clients, have major, major, major breakthroughs in their life. And, that is your legacy. That is why you're in a business for. Right? So what you need to look at before you put your program together is how, what is this program about? right? What is the purpose of it? And what are the drivers of success in the program? Okay, so I will give you some that we have seen after so many iterations that we have made to our program. We started like 2 calls a week, and then we added things and we subtracted things and we reformulated, and we're still reformulating. We're actually releasing another version in just a few weeks when we're reorganizing everything, and just so many things, that many changes that we have made to our programs. Okay, so the number one thing is you need to have a clear roadmap and milestones. You need to have a clear, this is what the purpose of the program is, whether it's, get into the green dream relationships, or, be a happy mom, or scale your business to 6 or 7 figures, right? Then you need to have, okay, this is the end goal of the program, be it as practical as humanly possible, as clear as humanly possible, right? Just like a basic life coaching program without any purpose, it's going to do what it's going to do. People are not going to show up for it. And it's just going to be this like a nice to have, maybe later, kind of thing that I'll get to. Yeah, sure, that'd be nice. But when there's no clear end goal, people don't have much reason to show up. Okay. So clear roadmap and milestones is, super important. Right? That's when we, on next week's session, we're going to talk about your signature formula or your method or your model, right? And how does that translate in the program, right? Then you need to have a very organized instruction, right? You need to actually like break that roadmap into, okay, how do I teach this? How do I bring this into awareness? And by the way, this doesn't work just in business coaching programs. This works very, very well in wellness and spiritual coaching and all of those things, right? So, and that's by the way, it's 70 to 80% of the folks in our program are not business coaches, right? But you need to look at, okay, here is the step by step. Here is the milestones that people need to achieve. How do I organize the instruction around it? How do I move them from space to space, right? The next thing here is practicing, right? This is the training, the practice, the implementation. This is where most of the programs out there really, really miss the mark, because they tell you what to do, they don't practice with you, and then you're out on your own and you're failing, and you're miserable because you don't really know what you're doing, right? Or you're avoiding the action altogether because you don't really have the confidence to take it because you never got to practice, right? So practice of whatever the discipline that you were teaching on is a very important element of your program. That needs to be front and center, right? So some of the things, to give example, right? What we discovered in our program is that people really mean to be visible, and they really mean to share, their craft, and they really want to go out there and just teach and lead, but sharing certain things on camera, especially about their program, that becomes an issue, right? So we created a safe space for them. We gave them a structure. This is how you talk about your program. Here's the 13-point structure. Here's what you need to walk through, and we gave them a call to show up and practice in a very, very safe space, so that they can kind of go through it and work out the butterflies and work out the self-doubt in a safe space before they have to go in front of people, right? Same thing we do around sales, right? So we do a lot of connect calls, and we do a lot of implementation calls, and there's a lot of things, we do connection-based sales, but it is still very much nerve-wracking for people, because they are absolutely terrified. Like, what happens when I get on a connect call? What do I ask? How do I give value to this person? It's a big thing. Like, people get super nervous about this, even if they have been in business for a while. they're still not effective. They're still not delivering the value and the service that they really want to on those calls, right? So we teach on this, but then every single week we put them in role plays and we have them practice together, right? Same thing around lead generation, driving registrations for their virtual events. Like that's a big, big, big pain point, not the biggest in our space, honestly. Like lead generation, oh my goodness. If I had a penny for every single person who has told me on the connect calls and the implementation calls, I know exactly what I want to sell. I love your retreat strategy. I want to do this, but I'm really, really terrified I won't be able to find the people to join my retreat. It seems to be this biggest roadblock. So what do? We put people into co-working sessions. We tell them what to do. We share screen. We tell them, we give them, some examples, not word for templates, obviously, but some examples, and we put them in a co-working sessions and let's do it together, in small group of people. They're going to cheer each other on. They're going to break through that together. I don't know what that looks like in your program, but what you need to think about is, okay, start with the end goal in mind. Then reverse engineer, what are the milestones and the steps that I need to get people to? How can I get people into practice in a safe environment so that they're actually going out there and implementing and they know what they're doing and they feel confident, right? The other thing is community and group energy. So important. People in our program celebrate, they support each other. We even celebrate failure because we believe that, you're either winning or you're growing, right? So when somebody's really just like, oh my gosh, feeling just really, really nervous or just completely failed their live stream and stumbled all over themselves or whatever, just didn't feel so confident, but did it anyway, that's a huge, maybe it's not a win in terms of, they didn't get a bunch of people to sign up for a connect or a consult call with them, but that's a growing win, right? So that's the kind of energy that you kind of want to create in a program where failure is absolutely welcome and encouraged, and people just, people understand the concept of growing versus winning, right? So, the feeling successful goes along the lines with it, right? When you're able to shift the perception of failure in your program and people start seeing that, they're either winning or they're really growing because they're so uncomfortable. They're doing something they have not before. It's not pretty. It's not perfect. It's kind of ugly, sometimes. That is the best place that they could be in, right? It's not just about the winning, right? So you kind of want to take a look at that when you are creating your program. What else? I want to do like a quick 2-minute into one-to-one deep dive. So one-to-ones are really great when you're at the beginning journey of your business, and it's really great for building expertise and confidence. All right. It's really, I did that. I needed to do that, and at some point I grew out of it. I became really bored with it, quite frankly, because I knew there was a lot more to me and I could deliver difference on a bigger scale. And, and I also realized that the amount of information and instruction and practice that I really wanted to deliver to people, it just wasn't possible in one-to-one. But at the beginning of your business, like, go get some one-to-one clients. It's absolutely, very, very easy to do. You don't need complicated launch strategies. I did that delivering a 20-minute presentation. People would sign up for a consult with me. I do consults, 20 to 25 minutes. It was in-person presentation at different female entrepreneurship organizations. And I would share a 5-step strategy to A, B, and C. I would pull people into consult. They would come and roll. My close rate wasn't like, there was no qualifying. So my close rate wasn't like terribly high, but it was the right people, and it was great. It wasn't scalable though, right? It was something that I had to do away with when I became pregnant as a single mom. I didn't have all the time for one-to-ones, and I needed something that was more scalable so I could actually give the clients everything that I want to give them, but in a group setting, right? So how do you formulate a one-to-one program? Number one, you've got to be clear on the promise of the program, right? You got to be clear what this program is about. Where do you want your clients to get to, right? Then you want to be clear again on the method of transformation. What's your model? What's your formula? What's your step-by-steps, right? What are the milestones? How do people know that they're making progress, right? Then you want to think about the structure for fulfillment of this. How does this look like? What are the different elements? Yes, you have the one-on-one element. You might be meeting with your clients twice a month, or once a month for a VIP intensive, or every single week, or however that looks like, right? What are the additional materials they have access to? Maybe you have some pre-recorded trainings and materials to go along. Maybe there is a DM support. Maybe it's unlimited. Maybe it's, one check-in a week, do you have VIP intensive to get them started on top of that, right? So you want to decide on that. And, with pricing, these are the conversations that we have, with people individually, because it really depends where you're on your journey. But, start where you are and then raise with each client, right? Ideally, if you want your want to be scalable, what you would need to do is to actually, work to, I want to say, what was the math that I did on this? Oh yeah, if you want to make $200,000 a year, you would need to be charging $411 an hour, right? That's because you can't really effectively coach more than 10 sessions a week, right? So that's what you need to be charging to cover your costs and to, cover 40 hours of work and all that stuff, which is quite a steep price for one-to-one, right? It's possible for some in some industries, not possible in others, right? So $411 an hour is what you would need to work up to if you want to create your career around one-to-one, right? Which is totally possible in some industries. If you're working with 7 or 8 figure CEOs or executives and so on and so forth, not so much if you're working with nurses, teachers, single moms, the everyday person or entrepreneurs or whatever, right? Because a lot of them just won't have the funds to afford that, okay? So really quickly, hybrid program deep dive. My favorite thing, absolutely love hybrid programs. Me transitioning into hybrid programs was one of the best business decisions that I made. And I literally, my daughter is now 16 months old. I made that transition a week and a half before she was born. Best decision. If I did not make that leap, it was extremely scary. It would still be struggling, like giving people enough time for them to get results. My calendar would be booked. I'd be exhausted. I'd be bored with myself, quite frankly, right? Because I've really outgrown it. And when you have outgrown it, when you say to yourself, oh my goodness, if I have to explain this concept one more time, or if I have this conversation one more time, the same, conversation over and over and over, and you're not feeling inspired, you're a little bit overdue for transitioning, okay? So start thinking early about transitioning, because in a group setting, it gets a lot more fun. It's, you come alive, you have the group energy, all of those things, right? So then how do you create a group program or hybrid program, right? Number one, again, you got to start with the promise of the program, right? You need to know what the end goal is, right? That needs to be clear. You need to put a stake in the ground. This is my intention, but this is the transformation that I want for people to achieve, all right? What is the method of transformation, right? You guys know ours is the SERVE method. What is your method? What is your model? What is your formula? What is the body of work, right, that you're creating? What is your signature method, right? Because you're going to teach that not just in your program, but you're going to teach that in your live events as well, right? That's where we created the whole server tree, right? So that we get to teach the whole formula. And this is part of it. S stands for scalable programs. This is why I teach about this so much, right? Then again, milestone for progress. What are the skills that people need to build? What do they need to achieve to move towards their goal, right? Then what is the structure for fulfillment? What are the calls that I need to have? What is the one-to-one element component to it? How often? When? What are the different practice sessions that I need to have? How do I make sure that people are succeeding? What are the pre-recorded? Some of you are going to be doing some pre-recorded stuff, not a lot, but some of the pre-recorded stuff can be there. What is that going to look like? How is that going to guide people, right? So that needs to be in place. A couple other things. Ongoing admission into one program. This is where people really get stuck, because they launch into different programs and they have parallel 3, 4, 5 different programs running, and you can't do that, right? Because you would burn out very, very quickly. So you have one program that you actually launch into 6 times of the year. We really, really love that. Yes, you can admit people in between. You do that. You can do that. We do that. We don't, most of our clients join during our launches or during our retreat because they're kind of in a cohort situation. It's a lot more fun for them too to be with a cohort. But we have people come in and, oh my gosh, can I like join now? Because like I need to start working on this now, right? Those are the people who are just like, okay, I just want to get to work, right? I don't need the group fun and all that. I just want to get down to work and I want to get down to business and get it done, right? So that happens too, right? So how do you launch into it? Obviously, we're going to talk about, right? I'm going to do, from a couple of weeks from today, I'm going to do an overview of a few different launch strategies that we have used in the past, the things that worked, the things that didn't work. So you get to learn about that too and kind of decide which one is right for you, okay? So really quickly, some questions that we get a lot. What is the appropriate length of my hybrid program? Always say 6 to 12 months. 6 to 12 months is really, really the sweet spot. Pricing, $400 to $2,000 a month is the sweet spot. 400 being the very, bare minimum, because if you go below that, what is going to happen is that people are going to treat it as a course, and people are going to assume that you're just solving a tactic. People are not going to show up for the transformation of it, right? So the problem with low ticket is, if you pack a lot of value into low ticket, people are not going to get it because people just assume, oh, this is just solving a tactic. Transformation, if that's what you're selling, right? And if you're selling a tactic, then that's fine. Go with a lower price, right? But if you're selling transformation, relationships, business, spirituality, mindset, all of those things, then, I will tell you, people are not going to show up until you start charging $400 a month, and you need to charge appropriately for what you're doing, right? So a couple questions, right? Why not shorter? Honestly, 3-month programs and less, or even, between the 3 and 6 months, it's kind of it's the space where a lot of people start at. As long as you're moving towards the 6 to 12 month model, you're fine, as long as you can really progress into that really quickly. But anything below like 4 months, what's going to happen is that you're going to have to relaunch and do so much marketing and sales. And it's so incredibly difficult, right? Because you're going to be doing so much lead gen. You're just going to be chasing people around, trying to get them into the next program and the next program and next program, right? It's just so much work. Secondly, people don't have enough time to get the transformation, right? We give people a lot upfront in our program. We don't hold anything back. If they want, they can get the full program. They can, binge and get it all in 1 month. But however, they have 12 months to implement. It's not going to be perfect. Things are going to happen. Family is going to happen. Life is going to happen. They can take a couple months off. We don't recommend it because, you want to keep the trajectory kind of going, but they have up to 12 months to really implement all this and get the support, get the one-on-one attention, show up and tweak and, and fail. If they fail, no problem. You still have, if you fail in the first month, no problem. You still have 11 months to fix it, right? So, I really love giving people the most possible chance, and then people, I hear every single time, people tell me, well, I don't know if my audience is going to pay this, right? And that's all fair, because there's going to be lots of people in your audience who can't afford it. And the bleeding hearts who are listening to this are like, yeah, but I want to make a difference for more people. I really want them to, get the transformation. That is what the launch strategy is for. And if that's you, you need to be doing 7-day retreats, because you really get to serve a lot of people on scale without charging them. It's really going to fulfill on your heart's mission, right? So, or charging them very little. Most of the time, people don't charge for retreats, right? So you're going to be able to deliver, make a lot of difference in people without charging them. But then, a group of people is going to end up in your program and get the full support. And, they're going to really, get the transformation, accountability, and the implementation, and the practice, and the instruction, and all the details, and the nitty-gritty, and the step-by-step, and the roadmap, and all that, right? So, most people, that's okay if most people don't pay actually, if you have, and I always say this, if you have like 1.5% conversion on the people who come to your retreat, you're still going to be highly, highly, highly profitable as long as you get enough people into your launches, right? So that's okay if most people can't afford it. It's totally, totally okay, right? You know, people ask, whoa, it's a 12-month program. Do I get any breaks? And I say, absolutely. Design the program based on your lifestyle, right? Your lifestyle, that needs to come first and foremost. And I design my program around my life. We shut down the company every 8 weeks for 10 days, 9 to 10 days, where we're not doing any coaching. We're not doing anything in our program. We communicate it to our clients. They know it's in their onboarding documents. They know our strategy. They're doing the same. Next year, we're actually going to probably extend it to longer cycles and they take more time off, right? Because for me, the season in my life, I really want to enjoy as much time as possible with my daughter. And I want a lot of focus time on my spiritual growth, right? I really, really like checking off and not being on my phone for, at least a week at a time, right? Without any kind of communication with anybody, right? Except my family, obviously, right? So you get to design the program however you want. You can literally teach 2 months and then take a month off and do that have that be your integration in your program. Or you can do 3 weeks and a week off. Or you can do 7 weeks and 3 weeks off. You can do whatever the heck you want. And the beauty of that you're setting an example in your company for your clients, for work-life balance or whatever you have. So that's actually a good thing. They're going to actually find that really inspiring, right? And the last question that we get is, what if I wind up with the wrong people? What if I get the people in my program that, are a little bit victim here, or just kind of driving me crazy, or I just don't enjoy working with them? What am I going to do with them for the next 12 months, right? And I will tell you quite honestly, that always happens. To every single client that started their group program, there's always that one person. They're like, okay, these are my ideal clients. This is not quite my ideal client. So that's going to happen. It's going to be no more different than from your one-to-one. And the first iteration, the first launch of your hybrid program, you got to count that it's kind of the first group. It's a little bit of a research group, right? Because you're going to see, okay, these are the people I want to multiply, and these are people I'm not sure I can serve, whether it's me or their mindset or whatever it is. Not quite sure I want to attract more of those people. You're going to be learning, and then you're going to be up-leveling your program and how you deliver your launch and how you talk about your program to make sure you attract more of the clients that you're the perfect match for. So, that happens all the time, and it's okay. Everybody survived it. Typically it's like, the energy is kind of like, there's a little bit of, maybe we're not the right fit for each other. And that happens, especially in the beginning stages of your business. And, if, I will tell you right now, if you have somebody in your program who's driving you crazy, who is giving you anxiety attacks, right? Who's just like emailing you, texting you, calling you all the time, then, that's the time where you need to say, have an abundance mentality and say, well, maybe this program is not right for you. Okay. And I have had to do that before, right? Where, I wanted to make sure that my energy wasn't eaten by a single person because I had to support 30 more people, right? So from time to time that happens. It doesn't happen very often, but from time to time it does, right? So, but you will be able to handle it, right? And those are some of the growing pains, transformational things that you're going to be working on as an entrepreneur, right? Because the bigger your business is and the more clients you're handling, the more of those things are going to happen. And you need to build your resilience, and you need to know who you are, and you need to kind of not get, how do I say this, enmeshed in your client's business so much, and you need to know how to manage your energy and all that stuff. So it's one of those beautiful growing pains that you're going to be going through. All right. So, okay, let me stop screen sharing. How is everybody doing with this? Was this helpful to you guys? I really, really appreciate everybody joining me live. I'm going to sign off as the next steps. Next week, I'm going live with prep. This is pre-work for the July retreat. Okay. So I want you to watch and rewatch this. I want you to also get in touch with your implementation advisor. You're going to have an implementation advisor that is going to help you dial in your strategy based on where you are in your business. So those implementation advisors right now are Ildiko for their next retreat, River, Jay, Gabe, Masha, and Natalie. Okay, so somebody probably reached out to you, and those are the coaches in our program, right? So they're going to be available to you. Reach out to them, have any questions about this. Yeah, but about this? Well, I have this many clients. What do you think? Should I be launching with a group, with a hybrid program, or should I do something else? So that's the first thing I want you to do. Next, this is retreat pre-work session 1. Next week, we're doing a retreat pre-work session number 2, where we're going to talk about your scalable legacy. So we're going to be talking about how to actually create your method, your model, or your formula, and that's absolutely a must do, because you're going to want to get some clarity around this before you actually go into the retreat, right? Because we're going to be talking about launching with retreats and all that stuff, and you really want to be clear on what your model or your method or for your formula is. All right, so go do that. Go reach out to your implementation advisor. We're here to support you, assist you, help you with all that, and I will see you guys next week.